So this is a Zoom video conference for the 19th. Next week, we're going to be having test 2. So we'll have the video conference on Tuesday, and we'll go over some part of the practice test and talk about the test to come. In fact, we'll probably do a little bit of that today. This is sort of what I wanted to do today, go over midterm grades and what to do about them, talk about test 2 next week, how to prepare, answer any questions you have, and maybe work a few problems related to the homework and related to what might be on the exam next week. Now, as the test next week will be on Thursday and Friday over a 48-hour period. That's plenty of time for everybody to take the test. Be sure and don't wait to the last minute to start taking it, because if you had Wi-Fi problems or other problems, you won't have time to recover from it. So be sure and start everything at a reasonable time. Last time I had to go track down a few folks to tell them to take the test. Now everybody should know when the tests are. I'll be sending out some more notices on that. Now, midterm grades. Everybody, I think, has seen the midterm grades that I have put up on D2L. The overall, the midterm grades were pretty good. In fact, my Dr. Andrews says that this class is doing better than a lot of other classes. We have about 31 in the class. The median midterm average was 80.22. It was sort of interesting. The mode was 100. There were about 4 students that had 100 average. The third quartile was 96%. However, there were some as low as 27. That was primarily students who didn't do their homework and really didn't know what to do on the quiz. So 10 students have gotten early warning alerts, and those were students who had either an F or a D. And I'm requesting, I'm trying to figure out whether I can require that you absolutely do this, but if you got one of these alerts, I would like to go over test 1 on a Zoom, one-to-one Zoom video conference with me. I want you to agree that you'll do 100% of the homework next time, and then discuss an overall plan with me about how to get you where you need to be. And then report to me on your homework average each week. Of course, I can see what your homework average is each week, but I want you to respond to me and tell me what you're doing. And then request additional video conferences if needed. Now, this is for those who got the early warning. Anybody who's sitting there with a very good grade, you don't have to do any of this. But I wanted to tell everybody is encouraged to request a conference or ask questions if you need help in any area, no matter whether you're making 100 or making 70, okay? I'm always ready to help you. I'm here to do my very best to make sure you do well in this course. And there may be a number of ways I could help you. I've already had some students who will just snap a picture with their phone of a problem they're trying to work and text it to me. And quite often I can very quickly write on the screen and send it back to you. And I've even made a little short video about it. But I want you to go all out to do the very best you can and pass this course and excel in it, okay? Does anybody have any questions about this? Anybody have? Did somebody ask something? Nobody's, I thought I heard something in the back. Okay. Before we go on, does anybody have any suggestions on ways we could possibly improve this conference? I'm open to anything. Anybody got any comments?
I mean, for me, it's kind of hard. The time frame, you know, the 1 o'clock, and I know you went by the consensus, but clearly it wasn't the consensus because we're having, you know, little participation. But you know, it's kind of hard to come straight off of lunch or not even at lunch to get on a 1 o'clock call.
Okay, I appreciate that. Let me do something here. I think I want to see. I want to see the video panel over here. Okay. That was Sandra, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, by far, the 1 o'clock time was the most fun. What would be a time that would have been good for you, Sandra?
Me personally, probably later on, like the 3 o'clock time frame, because I'm winding down, you know, the most of my job. I mean, that might not work for everyone else, but I mean,
Okay.
Some people may have a certain time for lunch, but I don't.
So basically, it's a job now. You're working every day.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm off on Sundays.
Off on
for sure. That's the only guaranteed day.
Okay. I would be willing to do a one-on-one conference with you sometime if you'd like. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, if you got
that may work better for me.
Now you can obviously watch the video, right? And the other thing that you can do is look at if there's any problem you got that you're haven't quite figured out how to work. Send it to the conference and we'll answer it. Okay. And if anytime there's something you've got to absolutely figure out, take a picture of it and ask me. Okay. Anybody got any other comments? Okay. Now, is anybody seeing the video panel on here, or can you see this full graph here? What are y'all seeing?
I have the video panel, but I can minimize it if I need to.
Okay. I'll tell you what I want to do. I'm going to hide it. Does that look better? Okay. Now you should be able to see the entire thing. Obviously, what we've been doing is analyzing data. And we've been looking at various ways to do that. And I think this week you should have, gosh, today is Thursday. You should have watched the videos on the variation of data and the 5-number summary. And you should be experts on putting it in your calculator. And on this section, I think anybody that's going to be successful needs to at least have the TI 30X. Does everybody have this calculator? Everybody tell me what you have.
I do.
Okay. Does anybody not have it or have something else?
I'm still using my Casio.
Okay.
Now I've been able to get to all of the features that we've used so far without any trouble.
Now, you're able to put like 10 numbers in and get the median in the first quartile and the second quartile and so forth.
Yes, sir.
And it's pretty, it seemed to be as simple as what you've seen with this calculator.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. I know that there was one student was using that couldn't quite do this. It was okay for the interest stuff we were doing in those formulas. But if you can do that, that's fine. Does anybody have anything else? William, do you have one? I didn't hear from William. William, you there? Did anybody see William say anything? Okay, William, are you there? Gosh, let me see if he's still here. Yeah, William, unmute and say something. What computer or what calculator do you have? Well, William's not saying anything. Maybe.
Sir,
What calculator do you use?
TI 84.
Oh, you do.
Yes, sir.
Are you? Well, that actually will do a little bit more than this.
Yes, sir. It's a graphing calculator.
Okay. The only thing about the 84, I've used that for a while. It actually will sort the data in order, and this one will not. Okay. However, I like the TI 30 because it seems to do the fractional expressions a little more visually than the TI 84. But you feel comfortable with it with the TI 84?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you okay. Charisma, what do you have?
That one, the 30, TI 30.
Okay. You feel pretty comfortable with it?
Absolutely. I use that one more than my graphing calculator.
Okay. Yeah, only if you needed to graph will you need a TI 83, 84. In some ways, we're going to be doing a little graphing in this course when we get to linear, quadratic, and exponential functions. But this is a very inexpensive calculator. Okay. I will say that when it comes to test time, I would certainly put the data in the calculator, because everybody can mess up and not get it right. You need to have a way of checking that you put the numbers in right. Once you put them in, look at every number you put in and make sure you got that right, and then get the answer and check it. Okay. Okay, so here we are, the 5-number summary. Let me get the video panel off again. And of course, you remember this formula about getting the standard deviation. And you can do it by hand and sum up every data point, subtract the mean. Well, take every data point, subtract the mean, square it, add them all up, and divide by the number -1, and then take the square root, and that is the standard deviation. I tell you what, I would not do this again manually. I wouldn't even want to do it piecemeal unless I absolutely had to. And if I had to, I would do it several times and check it. Okay. Let's, here's a homework question. Determine the mean, median, and mode of the following data. And I'm also going to ask, we look at the first quartile and the third quartile, and let's even throw in the standard deviation. I'm just looking at some notes here. First of all, you couldn't do this on the test quite as fast, but you can put the data in order, okay? But just doing what I did here would take you just a little bit of time to get the data from lowest to highest. Unless you use Williams' calculator, you could put the data in there and then it puts it in order. But once you put it in order, you can get all the other things. But if you had to do it and you just want to understand exactly what's going on, put the data in order. And notice these two numbers are the ones right in the middle. There are 10 numbers. And so the median is going to be the average of the two in the middle. So the median is going to be 65.2 plus 68.8 divided by 2, and that equals 67. So that's the answer for the median. Now the mean is just summing up all these values and dividing by 10, and that's going to be 69. Now this particular one, finding the mode, the way they put this problem together is pretty obvious that you've got 3 88.3s. By the way, in my experience, I never have made any big use of the mode. Is everybody familiar with how to put all this in your calculator? Does anybody want to see it done? Nobody wants to see it done. I'll tell you, for students who might be looking at this video later, let's just go ahead and do it. And I'll try not to make a mistake. I'm going to go to data. I want to clear L1 and start putting the data in. 88.3, enter. 58.1. Maybe some of you want to put it in yours as you do it. If you see me put something in wrong, tell me. $65.2. Now, did I mess up anybody? So now we've got 65.2, 51.5, 45.7. I'm going to assume that I got it in right. And now we're going to hit second data, which is asking for the statistics. We're going to do one variable statistics. Hit enter. We're going to do it on L1. We've selected which data set, and we're going to do frequency 1 and calculate. And sure enough, there's a mean of 69. The standard deviation is 15.68 rounded. I think I said 51.6. It went off the screen. 15.68. Goodness gracious. Standard deviation is 15.68. And now you can see the minimum is 45.7, and that's, you can see in the sorted data that's correct. First quartile is 58.1, which I put down here. The median is 67. The third quartile is 88.3, and the maximum is 88.3. Turns out the mode is 88.3. There'll be some problems like sort of theoretical or testing your knowledge of what the mode and median mean. Here it's asking you which of the following statements is true. Check all that apply. The mode, if it exists, is always one of the data sets. That is absolutely true. The median is always one of the data sets or data values. That's not true because the median sometime could be one of the two data sets or pieces of data in the middle, and you take the average of them and it won't be one of the data sets. Now the mean is always one of the data sets. That's not true. Anytime anybody has taken the average of a bunch of numbers, the average doesn't have to equal one of the numbers. Have you folks worked a problem like this in the homework?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is basically a frequency chart. I want to make sure everybody understands what this means. This student is selling t-shirts, and on 2 separate weeks, I'm sorry, on these 2 separate weeks, he sold 2 t-shirts. On 3 separate weeks, he sold 4. On 4 separate weeks, he sold 6. And he had 7 weeks where he sold 8. And so it's asking to find the mean number of t-shirts sold per week. Well, first of all, he said, how many t-shirts did he sell? It's basically going to be 2 times 2. And then 3 separate weeks, he sold 4. And then 4 separate weeks sold 6. And 7 separate weeks sold 8. So he sold a total of 96 shirts. And if you add up all of these weeks, there were 16 weeks that he sold. So the average is equal to 96 over 16 equal to 6. So there'll probably be one similar to this on test 2. Here's another problem just like we just did. I'm going to, just for the benefit of anybody else who'll be looking at this later, go ahead and put this in. And again, I'll put it in L1.
Hey, Dr. Brown.
Yes.
It's Charisma. I'm walking into my meeting now. I just wanted to let you know.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So we're going to put the data in. Anybody stop me if I've made a mistake? 33, enter. 2, 48, 32, 37, 64, 25, 55, 61, 92, 50, 10, 5, and 86. Okay, so we got 14 values in. If nobody saw me make a mistake, I'm going to go ahead and do second stats, variable stats again, calculate. And the mean is 42.86, which is what I've got here. The standard deviation is 27.77. And the minimum, well, we didn't ask for the minimum. First quartile was not asked for. The median's 42.5, which is what we have here. And the range, remember this, the minimum was 2. The max was 92. So the difference in the max and the min is 90, and the range is 90. Okay. One of the things you probably may even have to do in real life is look at data on various things going on in a business. It could involve salaries, it could involve profits, it could involve losses, it could involve quality issues. This is what we call a 5-number chart, or really sometimes we call it a whisker chart, about salaries for CPAs and actuaries. And need to answer a question here. Valerie makes the minimum salary for an actuary. So I would go right here and say, hey, this is Valerie. And she makes 40K. And Riley makes a median for a CPA. You need to understand what each of these points mean. This is always a medium here. So he makes a medium salary, which would be 70K. So who makes more is Riley. And how much more? 40, 70 is $30,000. Okay, pretty straightforward. Just have a great understanding of what every point means on one of these charts, and just look at the data. Jenny makes a minimum salary for a construction worker. So here's Jenny. So she would make 30K. And Marcos makes a median salary, the median salary for a teacher. So that would be here. And their difference is $10,000. Now I'm pretty sure we'll have a pie chart on the test. You need to be able to interpret it. The pie chart shows the breakdown of cost of printing and selling books for a publishing company. With the total cost for 1 month's publication is $128,500. How much is the royalty and the printing cost? Well, the royalty cost is 15%. And so for that month, it would be 0.15 times the total pie. Would be equal to 19,275. And then for the printing, just read the chart carefully, it's 20%. So it would be 0.2 times 128,500, which is equal to 25,700. Now, I think that's the last, well, got one more problem here. And just for those who may be watching later, we'll go ahead and do it. So these are all very straightforward. I want to clear L1. And now we got 20, 22, 20, 23, 23, 20, 25, 22, 30, 26, 26, 24, 19, 26, 20, 15, 10, 22, 22, 22. So we got 20 data points in all. And assuming I didn't make a mistake, we'll go second data and do calculate. The mean is 21.85. Let me bring this guy back up. Standard deviation is 4.26. And I tell you what, I've already got it written down. The minimum, if you look at it, is 10. The max is 30. The first quartile is 24.75. The third quartile, I'm sorry, the first quartile is 20. Third quartile is 24.75. And it had asked us for the median, and that was 22. So those are the problems that I prepared to talk about. I'm open for any questions that anybody might have. Anybody got any questions? Destiny, you got questions?
No, sir.
Okay. By the way, I'm open for any suggestions, okay? If there are other things that people would like to talk about, I think I've talked about things that we've covered in the material and that are in the homework and are likely going to be on the test. There's not going to be any surprises, okay? So does anybody have anything else?
I don't today.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to encourage people to send in questions, maybe a little stronger. Just, I know there are some who can't attend this. If they'll just take the time to ask a question, maybe we can cover it. Or what is there anything that's bothering anybody, any particular problem that you find hard getting your arms around or your mind around? Okay, well, I'm going to stop the conference, and I hope you all have a good evening. I'm going to stop the share, and if nobody else has anything else to say, I'm going to end the meeting.